definitely week number 4. Can't take anything away from them. We saw signs of life. Yes, it was only 1 win, but we know for a fact that only 1 win isn't really... You can't say that in these levels of lobbies. Only 1 win is the difference between you basically taking this whole thing home and not getting anything whatsoever. You know, last week we only had 2 teams on 2 wins, and that was both FaZe and Na'Vi.
FaZe aren't even there, and neither are Liquid. It's funny how times have changed slightly. Liquid now opting to take their time on occasion, and there it is. BBL, welcome to the board, boys. CodeMarco, Mert, good connection on towards DA, who willy-nilly make their way up the hill and get sent right back down to the lobby. PiXeL barely alive, and Jembty not looking so good either. And yes, you may avoid one side, but you're going to go towards TM, or you're going to maybe look towards ENCE, or even Hall of Games, with plenty of other teams lingering around this area.
Yeah, DA have had it rough for the past few games. A 16th placement in the previous one. First one wasn't too bad, but then slowly but surely it's just been dropping off. I mean, if you want to say the only way is up from a 16th placement, this should be it. However, down bad is kind of the name of the game at the moment. They've only got 1 player remaining. Oh no, it's Jembty as well, with barely any health and just dragging the car up side of the hill. I mean, he can't do anything now. He's just got to sit here and hope for the best, to be honest with you. Yep. But there's a lot of his countrymen up there as well. There's a full 4-man finish stack, so you got to be really careful. Galacticos is also wandering in on this, so it's something that we have to keep in mind, that if they go and sit themselves within Stalber, that pretty much cuts it off for the rest of the game. No one's going to go be fully sending in and committing to the cause on this one. We do have quite a lot of teams that are encompassing all of this. We've got QM, we got TM, we got Hall of Game also, all playing the ridge line just below Stalber, with BBL thrown in for a good mix. FaZe Clan furthest away from the party, all the way down to the southern edge of the circle. Na'Vi is here though. Heaven currently they're residing within, and then just off to one of the smaller compounds slightly north in a 1-1 split. If FaZe can actually, I mean, if the hand's dealt correctly, circle comes south, they push Heaven, take the 2 players, cut Na'Vi down in half, decent position on the map, but there's so much that needs to happen for that to actually come full circle.
FaZe are actually moving up towards Heaven here. Now, I know they scouted it. You saw, I think it was it Aitzy scouting? I think it was. And clearly the others are very aware that maybe this 2-2 is feasible to try and take. Maybe they want to... Yeah, that's a good shout, I feel, for Na'Vi. Not worth the fight on it, potentially. Or maybe just want to keep the vehicles safe. Do the others come back? Now, keep in mind, Mellman and Alya are not within range to help. No, exactly, yeah. Back away from this one, Na'Vi. It's not worth keeping that southern side. And hey, you want to fight for it, eventually go for it. Gonna just kind of lean up towards the rest of the boys, lean up towards Alya and Mellman. Yeah, again, good move from FaZe, gets them a little bit more of a foothold, a riskier one, because, hey, who knows, maybe a different team wouldn't have succeeded there, they maybe would have stuck around. However, this circle is going to be quite polarizing. If it doesn't keep leaning in towards Stalber, some of these teams will be hitting those rotations pretty quickly. The top 3 team, prize money-wise, is all in the south, and, well, actually, it's gone on that kind of western side that a lot of teams would have kind of banked themselves on towards. Your BBLs, your ENCEs, your question mark, I guess you could say, is up there too. Gear Up, not a bad spot. Exhalation will actually take a nice little position as well. Any team that opted for that western side, which a lot did rich, are now laughing. They're happy with this.
Already putting bullets into them. You can't do too much from it. It's just somewhere to land here. And now, look, this is it. You are committed to the cause. There's nowhere really to go. You look outside the window, dead.
I think something else you have to keep in mind, too, is that vehicle's probably going to be done for as well. So even leaving this area becomes substantially harder. But you got to make do with what you're given. Sometimes you don't get the circle favor. Sometimes you bank on, Yasnaya Fields, and it keeps going up towards Stalber. The way it goes, and ENCE should thrive in this. And Squeaky's already going to find Apocalypse, trying to tap away towards Lazar. Not going to get the shots he wanted on that, but he'll at least ward them away. Again, keep territory, keep positioning safe, keep others from your door. And how is Jembty out here? How is he just frolicking in the fields? I have no idea. But it does seem as though he's still being under fire, but he has lived to, once again, fight for another day. Metralis hit that reload and get back to it. Another knock towards Rip9. 2 kills already for BBL. Those were on DA earlier. This could be 3. It is. Nice work from BBL. They need more of this, though.
Full information that player's dead. He's definitely dead now. Finds another one lurking down low. Youth. Now onwards of Lazar to try and find and solidify it. He can heal up for now and use the fallen body for bait. See if he wants to try and advance for it. Nade up in the air. And it's going to be a hard one to hit unless he's absolutely picture perfect, given the rock that he's on. Runs out of time and finally has to go for it. Flashes forward, hopes for the best. 2 times on the back of the sky. It's going to jump a fair whack, so it's not the most easiest shot in the world. And kind of advantage could fall to Lazar. He can't get this resuscitation. Keeps going with the shot, but supermassive blaze actually goes down. Jembty eats 2 of them.
Hey, the solo man, he's out there just roaming free the rumors of this Finnish beast on the hillside, and it's just Jembty having a wander. He's going to just fall back towards Stalber, maybe look for some new gear, maybe find a better scope to play with, maybe some more armor, but go off, Jembty. Let's see what you can do. Circle just going to kind of play towards what we expect, moving away from the water and playing towards the land. ENCE, BBL, very centralized. Galacticos, not too bad. FaZe will have a lot of the portion towards the east, unless someone like Hall of Game, TM maybe, or Na'Vi shift that way. I think Vanir might consider it too. We'll see. But for now, they do manage to make their way in somewhat scot-free. And Liquid, way out in the west. We were talking about how they were going to perform, like what do we expect from them, what do we want to see from them. It's going to be a quieter game. Now, this circle is going to be the tough one for them to slip in towards. I think they can do it, but I wonder if they get some attention now off the back.
He's trying to bait him out. He's trying to bait him out. He's drawn away his attention and allowed the rest of them to push up. Look at this. It's kind of worse. This is kind of smart, to be honest. If you send the car going by me, don't get me wrong. It could end in disaster if he somehow knocks some of them, but hey, whatever works. Send the car by, draw out the attention, and then just send the rest of them in. But they do have to fight more than one, and this is where things get a little bit dangerous. But alya is there to step up to the challenge. No problem whatsoever. And now the rest of them have to try and, I don't know, recover this in some way. You'd have to commit to the cause, and it might end up in more deaths, to be fair, especially when you've got Hall of Game up on the hillside. But for TM, like, this is now just gone from being good to being pretty bad. It's not the best place in the world, isn't this circle's edge, but Na'Vi knows it has to deal with it in order to advance forward.
You don't want to fight against a Na'Vi with a mission in mind, right? Like, that's the scare one. Like, as the interview highlighted, they will push a compound. They're not against it if they feel they need to. Now, the little lip on this ledge does make it very tricky. You plateau very obviously. So they might look for another way around, maybe skirt the way south if they have to. And we wait for that circle update coming in pretty soon as well. Jembty still roaming free. Doing whatever he feels like. West side getting very busy. And there it is. Just quite centralizing, really. But again, space-wise, FaZe can shuffle in if they want to. They might want to hold the outskirts for a little bit, keep that territory, but obviously not want to give up too much of the position anymore. Could have done with a bit more on that one. The AK not being kind to him. Actually receives a fair bit back from Qwizzy. Na'Vi will make it to foot as well. They've made it on land. Keep that in mind. They've now swept around them as expected, using that southern shift, but actually just slipping down the ridge side. So maybe this nades the way to relieve that pressure. Good tag, but not enough. The push, though, from Qwizzy might be.
Yeah, swings it round, and Emblem is very, very damaged up. Example down, but it probably is recoverable. There's another shot from a different team altogether. That actually really helped them out, but Na'Vi has lost 50% of its player base, we said, for a while. All of Game have been lurking on this hillside, this mountaintop, just watching what's going on down below. There is an M24 in abundance above them. The little ditch here, just against the rocks, will play off the back of it. BatulinS has finally managed to extend away from the rest of Na'Vi. You spoke about these vehicles. They are going to try and get them away from the house to that position. BBL, however, will hold the southwest shift.
Yeah, mxey seemed to draw the short straw there, having to take the old buggy up the hillside. Very, very visible. Lou with a belter towards Fate, though, going to create some space, but this is still going to be tricky for VP. They've got teams on either side, question mark on one and then Exhalation on the other. And not to mention BBL waiting patiently on the inner side of the circle. Liquid took the vehicles, and we saw that one was lost. Now make it two. Clib, forced to face the music against SKUIJKE, is now Ibi and Jeemzz. Just about buying enough time to get maybe a quick heal off, boost themselves up, and VP suffering under the sight of BBL here. They have that perfect vision on the push-up. You can see that little dip in the hillside, and there's SKUIJKE doing the same to Liquid. This is very tough for those teams working up from the slightly lower side of the hill.
I mean, the fight down here just pays off for QM. But the problem is, I think Navi's read the lines here. They've read between the lines. They've actually pushed into it. Yes, they know that QM is moving, so they follow the circle's edge. BBL now all of a sudden in the back has turned onto this. They are going to be wandering into this gunfight to try and defend and stop the landfall that is BBL. They have done a doozies. Their strikes first. Smash will fall. Ibby solidified. Smash also confirmed. Zoom goes out to the blue. Not issues about that. With Schofield also falling. QM and now getting hit from behind. This is a beautiful little pincer from Na'Vi. They've got alya holding front center as an anchor point. He's onto Jembty, so watch for him sometime coming through if he does manage to land the shot. The circle, however, is something we need to discuss. That is a massive, massive hard shift at a very pivotal time during this match.
Oh, yeah, it is. We've got like 2 teams in the circle. One's Galacticos, the other is FaZe. Hall of Gamer barely in there. They've just about gone for a run. Don't forget, obviously, the Mountain Man Jembty. Ooh, Spyro. Hitting them shots. Oh, this man's on it today. This is VP clutching at straws, though. Adoozy's watching quietly. The marksman in the hillside. MK14 locked in. Might lead this shot here. Let's see if he fancies it. BatulinS going to get away. Doesn't feel like that's the right time to pull the trigger. There's a lot of other players around this area. You have to play this so well. Jembty's right behind Mert and Metralius, by the way. Just keep that in your mind. He's right next to them. So if they try and get any safer in the circle, he might just be there. Now, FaZe can play this quietly out. They are sitting patiently away. Qwizzy can't be picked up at this point, I don't think. I think Page and Beamy have to deal with themselves moving towards the circle, which means Vanir is the one to punish it. And that's actually BatulinS tying CodeMarco. I thought this could be a backstab from Jembty getting involved, but no. ENCE even piling in towards it. And now you're going to see Flammy just still piling in shots, trying to keep them suppressed in the windows. Adoozy finally pulls the trigger. Lovely shot. Good accuracy off the back of that. And ENCE still holding 4 alive here, and they are greeting this Western crunch quite comfortably so far.
Shooting from the blue. Jeemzz is wandering behind him, so find all these weakened players odd job here, there, and everywhere. On top of the hill, Sny just finds VP trying to get itself back on its feet because they know that there is a team directly in front of them once they advance forward. Adoozy still going toe-to-toe, and it's just ultimately, as a solo player, keeping them pincered. Pressure on. Exhalation finally found. That's Jimbo from the blue, so his presence will also now be known. But look at Adoozy, man. He's not giving them anything whatsoever. Jeemzz still continues to be a pain in the backside for so many teams. I'm assuming Adoozy will finish him off eventually. A lot of commitment on the utility from Na'Vi. It does push a team back, but it doesn't get any frags whatsoever. No knocks, no nothing, and Hall of Game can advance forward into Stalba Ruins itself.
Hey, the fact that Na'Vi kept 4 alive and they've gotten 8 kills, they're working their way up. BBL being forced to shuffle Adoozy now. Caught in the open. That'll be a punishment from ENCE there. Tiikzu on the catching side. Jeemzz gonna have to burn his meds through on this one. Work his way forward. Don't know if he's going to really make it out of this circle. If he does, it's only for a moment. Now we're going to have a lot of squads throwing down on the southwestern side, and obviously the Mountain Man himself. Jembty, we're going to have very far south Na'Vi, then CodeMarco and BBL, then following that Jembty, and then ENCE. And already you can see the battle has begun. Na'Vi doing very well towards CodeMarco as a quick reply to Qwizzy being knocked, but BBL just going to throw every piece of utility they have, but do not forget that you have Example hitting that low ground rotation. You can't see it, because on the bottom right we have Jeemzz dying in the blue, but I promise you he's down there. That's the scary one. mxey is good for the flush, but it doesn't get an extra knock. Example is still carrying on this southern swing, trying to get behind those smokes. Have a little look through, but that does open up the avenue for the likes of ENCE. And suddenly they find Jeemzz. What a surprise there, but Tiikzu deals with him handedly. Now has to look further forward. There's Example's contact, but that was towards ENCE, and it was not towards BBL.
Looking onwards of ENCE, making some sort of a push through the smoke. Jembty just on the outskirts of BBL. Be aware of that. He's still up here. Lurking. Ruining people's dreams at the moment.
Mountain Man versus 2 snakes. I don't know.
I mean, we'll take it. You might just see the bag.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got it. He's clipped him. Surely. Oh, he's been seen first. I'm surprised he didn't catch that, but the stand-up lean should be right on the head. Dinks, not a problem. Mert's on the swing on the other side as well, and he will continue forward. However, by doing so, he exposed himself. SKUIJKE very much in the open. I don't really think you can go for that one unless they've got smokes, because Na'Vi is looking directly into it. I think the smoke play might basically be asking to die. Still 3 up, though, and 9 frags on the board. Na'Vi is not going out without a fight. Tiikzu strikes first, but I'm so glad you touched on it. They are swinging down from the mountainside to mop this one up, Lauren.
Yeah, and they have done exactly that. The Finns fall, Rustanmar, Tiikzu, SKUIJKE, all gone now. Nothing more much to be said about it. And the sweep continues. BBL maybe next on the chopping block. This is out in the east. A bit over a kind of one-to-one affair between FaZe and Vanir. FaZe do have the high ground, you could argue, but Vanir have the entirety of the north side to swing towards if they can. However, Na'Vi still put up a good fight against Galacticos. You can see that there was not just one, it was actually Metralius to claim one. So, Aitzy with a nice little pick towards Keanu. What does Na'Vi do with this, though? How do you move further on? With BBL gone, that opens up maybe a swing straight east if they want to try and make it up the hill. But Galacticos could be keeping them locked in. A 3v3 now between them.
Smokes are down to wrap off the back of it. We've still got all of them inside the ruins itself. FaZe is looking onwards of Vanir. They probably realize that if they can move onto this hilltop, they have the upper advantage.
Does FaZe know it's lost Stalber to Hall of Game, though? That's what I'm not so sure of, because Hall of Game kind of turn up here, not necessarily late. No, they seem very aware. Okay, that's fine. I was worried the FaZe didn't know that another team had slotted into Stalber proper. I didn't realize that maybe they've been keeping that in mind, but they have. So again, this kind of changes things. FaZe can't slot back in south super easily anymore.
It does make it harder, doesn't it? 2 arms in play, though. Love to see it. They might be going toe-to-toe any second. Na'Vi making it all the way to this point makes it that much more interesting, because now all of a sudden, Hall of Game have got a challenge on their hands. It depends
so
how much time they want to stay here, Lauren. You know, like they're looking onwards of this, but meanwhile, Hall of Game starting to wrap round onto the walls of Stalber. If they just run back to Stalber as the exit plan, they're going to get mowed down on arrival.
I don't know how viable the terrain is, wrapping straight west. So they might need a pick on this. Yeah, because they might be opening a little bit towards yellow, potentially, and some of Galacticos now. FaZe kind of in the corner here. They put themselves in a bit of a tricky spot. Na'Vi have completely infiltrated towards a kind of, you know, Harry Potter in the radio tower building. Hall of Game sitting very stationary towards down, but they really want to ensure that no one's quietly slotting into the eastern side, and they're not. So Kark's going to give away that one is in play for him. Fex, trying to test the waters. How far can we go? And actually, that's the first contact. Lyron, lovely shot there. Tracing Flammy just perfectly. Did he catch a spot towards yellow? Not sure, but he's got a good idea of where they may be, and this should encourage FaZe. This should be their go signal. They have to now pressure. This is an opportunity, and you're not going to get many of them at this point.
You have to take this fight. Like, ultimately, there's nowhere else to go if you move forward. You then open to Karks, who's holding the backside. Hall of Game isn't going fully aggressive. They're kind of sitting back and playing away from this. Maybe to try. It might even be beneficial, to be fair, if Karks pull back to the rest of Hall of Game, because Na'Vi will be their next challenge, more towards the southern side of the ruins of which they're situating within. Aitzy sending a few shots their way, at least silence them, but a big old nade sadly will bounce. You're getting ready for the maneuver. The smokes are up to kind of cover the cross, but ultimately, with the big green machine lurking, it'll be easier said than done. FaZe is inside and doesn't have to advance too far thus yet. Oh, there was actually a hit on that one.
Oh, don't repeat that example. Do not repeat this.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, that's the right plan. Hit the prone. Even just hearing an orm is going to make you very careful on those kind of window peaks. Anything that's I don't say an easy headshot, just a viable headshot. They're so desperate to get rid of Vanir, but Vanir are biding time. Now, the circle kind of shuffling closer and closer to Stalber. This will force the hand of FaZe and Vanir eventually. Hjort and Yellow just desperate to try and stay alive. You got the nades coming out. Fuzzface does connect towards Yellow, putting Hjort in a bit of a
that's good.
Clutch will get done position. And there was a good shot towards Fuzzface, but the nade comes out. Now they should have time to get the reses going, unless Galacticos tries to push it potentially. as I doubt Hall of Game would do it, or Na'Vi. I think they're too established, but Galactic, of course, could have a little look, and they are. They're having a little bit of a glimpse that way. See if anyone's silhouetting against the blue. Example, though, will catch wind of that and lay a couple of bullets downrange.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard. They not only have the Harry Potter, but they've got the radar tower as well, which does give them some leverage in terms of height advantage. You have this line of sight that waves down. The second they try and get out of the whims of FaZe, because FaZe are just wrapping slowly but surely. They've gone much lower than what they anticipated. The 4-time spray is good, removes him down to a lower amount of HP. But my word, the AWM bullet is better. Now it's the time to push. The goal symbol, right? We've got a tag on there. He's weakened. Let's have it here. All the commitment is through the smoke. Aitzy is going to be the first one to tackle this head on.
Yeah, it's Thendelos's deeper position that could be a problem, but Gustav has been bang on at dealing with that sort of thing, because he loves to do it himself. A couple of flashes come out, Thendelos is on the receiving end now, he's going to be in so much trouble on it, just trying to pile in some bullets, pile in some pressure, but Aitzy's connection is great towards Lyran. And now there's very few still alive, Aitzy will be blind as anything during this, but there's still Thendelos. And this guy's the ultimate rat. Super good positioning. Super nasty to handle. You can see it. There's two. Aitzy and Gustav polished off the back. This guy keeps getting away with it every single time. Fast space as well. Thendelos is such an animal. So hard to handle. Such a problem to get past. And while all this happens, if you're Na'Vi, if you're Hall of Game, you're like, wait, when did Thendelos just clutch that out? Hold on. FaZe can recover this. But now there's problems. You can see the nades are coming out. Karks has made the most of it, and now FaZe knows there is problems further afield. Yes, Thendelos is gone, but can he get his boys back on his feet? Or does Hall of Game and Na'Vi close in now?
There's nothing else to do rather than get these on the feet and have another go at it. Example still looking over this ridgeline again with that small height advantage. The line of sight's going to be devastating for FaZe. They wander up here. But if they can get 3, then maybe there's some sign of recovery for this. I'm intrigued to see if Na'Vi just has to fixate on Hall of Game and then FaZe Clan can jump in at the right time to third party it. But really, even getting up to the building is going to be difficult. I suppose with the windows, somebody could trade off an example and maybe just silence him while the rest of them run towards the bottom side of the tower itself. He's smoking it himself to try and give himself that exit plan. And I'm forgetting the window situation. All right. So you only have this one window facing this way, so maybe there was another way to actually hit the bottom side and then tackle it from there. Example clearly has information on Kax's off angle that he's trying to just work his way forward from. Smoke's up against the wall as well. This really does help FaZe out to be able to get themselves into this fight. That's what it's all about now. Throwing yourself in the mix here. Because Na'Vi and Hall of Game, they hold all the cards currently.
They do an 8-seat, having to get himself healed back up, but what do they do with this? Na'Vi need to make the push. Yuri's in a dirty position, so is Godrilla, so is Karks. These are hard positions to clear cleanly, and FaZe is feeling that too. And what a game are making them work for it this time, and these circles have been so unique, so different. Good shot on that, a little bit of a pre-fire, but a Molotov. That's big, big area denial. Yuri's nade does find an example. Na'Vi now on the receiving end. Yuri still doing some damage here. 80 HP is so low. A stray bullet could do it, but actually it's Yuri finding alya. Still work to be done for Mellman now. 10 kills, but no chicken dinner, and just 1 for Hall of Game. It's FaZe in a 3v1. You can see the frustration, but maybe Yuri 3'd up, geared up, can do some damage. That's 1. Oh, the second can't quite do it, but it was close as all hell.